Yes, I can light the whole universe. I am different, I am purpose, I am brilliant. Yes, I feel it.
Okay, I know it's mid-March and March is halfway done. But hey, let's talk about February foundations. We're going to talk about them right now. Don't talk about when I'm doing it. We are talking about the February foundations. So if you would like to find out what foundations I tried out in February and what I thought of them, don't go anywhere. All right, so let's talk about this month, the February foundations. I actually tried out 3. I was going for 4, but there was a shade range problem. Don't say anything. Yes, I thought I was honey. It was a little too dark. I had to give it to B. Y'all know how it is, black girl beige. The first one I used was the L'Oreal Infallible Freshwear. It has, this is in 470 Radiant Honey. And that is why I have issues with honey in foundations, because this is honey on me. This looks fine on me. I have it on right now. Looks good. I think there should be like a standard shade range thing where if you're going to use the name honey, it's got to be this color. Or if it's going to be creamy beige needs to be within this little sphere right here. I'm so tired. They just name these companies just name the stuff anything, and then they mess us all up because we say, well, I wear this and I wear this in this color, so maybe it'll be about the same, and it isn't. Okay, that's just my rant. Okay, so let's talk about this. They say this has a 24-hour breathable texture, which means it's a very thin and skin, it says it's like very skin-like on, which honestly, I'm finding that quite a few of the newer ones are that way, especially if they're about a medium. When you get into the full coverage, of course, that's a much thicker, trying to cover up everything. But with these that are more medium texture, coverage, they tend to be a little more forgiving on the skin. And the thing about when I think about skin like with a medium one is that it allows the imperfections to show through without making you look imperfected. I will say that I'm wearing it now. It looks really good on the skin. It does with with your primer. It does, it doesn't show up texture. I don't see where I'm looking a little crazy. My pores are still minimized. And it will last for a good 6 hours without having to think about blotting or putting on some powder to mattify in the nose area and on my forehead. I find that it does work best with a sponge. It looks fine with a you can buff it in with a brush, but with a brush, it tends to take a little bit longer to settle into the skin. Sometimes, the foundations need to warm up into your skin and really melt into your skin. And so when you're doing with a sponge, of course, it's a much more easier application. I personally go back and forth from brushes to sponges. I like them both. And sometimes, honestly, there are foundations that just work better with a brush or work better with a sponge. This one is okay with both, but I will say that I think just a little bit better with the sponge. So this is one of those. This is a keeper. I'm not, I really do like it. Is it better than some of the other ones? No. I still will say the Revlon Radiant, the Revlon Candid is the ones I've used in the last few months for drugstore. That's the one that's winning. But this is a very good foundation. It will work really well. It will give you a satin finish, not too matte. But it is good for oily skin. So I wouldn't say that this is something for someone with dry skin. I definitely would say that this is for normal to oily skin, not for dry skin, because even though it's not a super dry matte, it still is a matte foundation. All right, so the next one I'm going to talk about, I actually are 2 from the same brand. But one I no longer have, and I'm going to put the picture up here so you can see that I actually had it, so you don't say, why you lying? You ain't about that. Is the Mercier, is the Lumiere. Now, I got that one first because I've been feeling like I wanted to be a little, glowier, right? So I got that one. And I will say that the finish is beautiful on. And when it was on my skin, it looked gorgeous on my skin when I first put it on. And then in about an hour or two, I look like an oil slick. I look like on the top of my head that you could fry some chicken on it. That's how oily I look. I thought, I was hoping it would have the same type of finish like this Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk, which is a satin finish. No, this is a flawless Lumiere. When they say Lumiere, they mean Lumiere. You are going to look glowy. So that is perfect for someone with a dry skin, normal to dry. And I'm going to say, honestly, if you have normal skin, be careful with it. Make sure you put something that's going to mattify, because it is really, really a dewy foundation. Now, the finish was beautiful on my skin. It looked gorgeous. It was flawless. The flawless Lumiere was there, but it was not for my skin type. So no, that's a no for me. I did return it, and then I went and got the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion. Now this right here, okay, she's flawless, she's fusion, she's matte, she's gorgeous. This is very nice. I'm going to compare it to one of my favorites, which of course my baseline is always my Matte Velvet by Makeup Forever. It is not as flawless as the Matte Velvet, but it is right below it. It gives you a beautiful finish. It lasts all day. It's very light on the skin. When I'm wearing it, I don't feel like, I have this thing about, like, when I have it, I like to touch my face at some point of the day. You know how you accidentally touch your face, and when your face doesn't feel like you have on makeup, when it just feels like it's your skin, that's the way the Flawless Fusion feels. Not every makeup feels that way, but this is one of those that does feel that way. And it looks beautiful with a brush or a sponge. So whichever one you like to use, it looks beautiful with. And so I've been wearing this, off and on, lasts for a good, 8 hours on my skin. And let me tell you, my nose gets it, and my forehead. Like, I remember one day I was at work, I totally forgot I had on makeup. That's how nice it was looking. Now, yes, I was a little oily, but it was, but it wasn't like I looked cakey or anything like that. And one time I actually didn't set my foundation. I accidentally forgot to set it with powder, and I went out for the day, and it still looks good. Yes, I was a little more oily because I didn't set my foundation, but all in all, it was a beautiful finish on my skin, and it is very super lightweight on the skin. So that is one of my, that's one of the things I absolutely love in a foundation. It's a medium coverage. It is not a full. You can build it up to full coverage, but it is really a medium coverage. Now, I will say the interesting thing about this is that you don't get a lot out. Like when you pump it out, like how like some things when you pump it out, it has a nice amount of foundation that comes out. This doesn't. It's a very small amount. So I wound up pumping out like 2 or 3 because it's like really small. It's like, see this? Now, when you see it, it does, it's a very small amount. And when you put it on, it's beautiful. Oh, I forgot to mention that my shade in that is called Dusk. I don't know where Dusk came from, but I didn't know Dusk looked like me, but it is. And on my face, this is a perfect match. Now, of course, on my hands, I'm a little bit darker, so that's why it looks a little bit lighter. But on my face, this is a perfect match. I went to the store, made sure, and like when you see it right now, you see how much coverage it gives. So it's a very nice medium to full coverage. So if I kept it like at this level, definitely gonna get a full coverage. But then you're gonna need to use a little more. But look at how beautiful that coverage is. And you can even see it, my skin looks more flawless. It looks beautiful. So that's why I said, yes, child. Yes, child. This is worth the money. Now, I'm not going to say you need it. No, because of course there are a lot of good drugstore brands. And that's why I like to show you the drugstore brands. But if you want to splurge on you a newer foundation, especially with the VIB coming up where you can get 20% off, 15 to 20% off on it, this is a good one to splurge on. Good one to splurge on. Stop there. Cut that off. Okay. All right. So that is it for the February foundations. I honestly haven't even been wearing any new foundations. I've been wearing my Flawless Fusion, y'all. Pretty much in March when I'm going out, I'm either wearing that or the Freshwear. So I'm gonna pull out. I got a couple of things that I could, test out this month, but I'm trying to decide. I actually want to take a break for March because I want to use some of my older ones because I know like the Sephora VIB sale is coming up and I really wanted to give some recommendations because I don't want to, honestly, real talk, I'm not going to buy any new high-end foundations unless I can get them on sale. But wait a minute, 21 Days of Beauty is here, so I'm probably going to get a Becca one. Okay, so I got something to try. All right, so we got something for this month because I already have some drugstore foundations. All right, so we had a whole conversation with me, with you, okay, but anyway, y'all know who I am. All right, so I hope you all enjoyed that whole conversation I had with myself about foundations. And anyway, as always, it's your Lulu. Be bold, be brave, be fearless, be free. Talk to you later.